Hey everybody, Brian Canary here. I want to talk about Mortgage Money Monday. Got a great topic for you. It's about a little bit about mortgages, but more about money in general and the economy in general and what to expect. I'm going to share with you a great conversation I had with a business person who's involved in multiple businesses and kind of share with you his take on what's been happening and what's going to be happening. Thought it was too interesting not to share it with you. Won't mention any names, but it's a prominent business owner involved in multiple businesses. So thought it was interesting. But first, with just quick about the mortgages in general, I've said it before, in this conversation, it really just supports my view that we're going to see rising prices. We're going to see inflation start to kick in. And what that means is good news if you're a homeowner. Well, you know, it's relatively good news if you're a homeowner, because your asset's going to rise in value. That's why I'm advocating home ownership. And if you're renting and you're thinking about buying, or you're working on that down payment, keep working hard and get that down payment and get into home ownership now, because you're going to have a fixed payment every month on at least on your principal and interest portion. I can't vouch for your taxes and insurance, but your principal and interest will be fixed if you get a fixed product for a period of time, whether it's 30 years or even 5 years, but you'll be fixed for a period of time. And while that's fixed, you know, your asset value can be rising, and it's going to be a tremendous boon to the middle class with regard to, I believe, real estate prices rising. So work hard, get those down payments going, and get the credit repaired, and do what you got to do to get involved in home ownership, because I believe that prices are going to be rising, and along with that, real estate will rise as well. So anyway, here's the basic conversation I had with the gentleman, the businessman, and I think the implications of it, not only for real estate, but the economy in general, the stock market, and so forth. Again, it kind of supports my view. I think the stock market, a lot of people are calling for a correction. It's been rising for so long, but this conversation I'm about to have kind of supports the view that, well, you know what, people are calling for a crash and calling for a correction, but in reality, we may be on the cusp of a boom, of an even bigger boom. Now, maybe it's a bubble, maybe call it what you want, but he believes that the economy is going to be booming, and we're going to have GDP over 4%. So basically, here's the conversation. The idea is that a lot of businesses under Obama knew that there's a lot of regulations coming. There was a lot of executive orders, and they went into austerity mode, and they started hoarding their cash. They started looking at their businesses a lot more closely, cutting the fat, and knowing that, hey, we don't know what this guy's going to do. It's kind of got a socialistic attitude and not real business friendly. So they wanted to play defense and kind of cut the fat, and maybe closed or sold businesses that weren't performing as well, and tried to watch closely the ones that were doing well, and just hoarding their cash, waiting for the time when the business environment would change to a more business-friendly situation. Well, now we got Trump on the scene, and you saw what happened on election night when people thought he wasn't going to win, and the market was way down, and then they found out he was going to win, and the market just exploded up. Well, that's a sign of people's, perception becomes reality. It's a sign of business people. Business people are like, wow, finally we're going to be able to invest in new businesses. We're going to start buying plant and equipment again, and it's going to rebound, or the pendulum's going to swing way back the other way, going from like low growth, no growth to like over 4% GDP. People were saying, oh, he can't even get to 3% GDP, and Trump said, yeah, it's going to be over 3%. Watch, and the business person thinks it's going to be even over 4% GDP. So it's really going to take off. And I said, well, give me some evidence. Like, what do you mean that you're seeing it happening already? Excuse me. And he said, well, here's some evidence. He said, I went to go buy a 3/4 ton white work truck, a work pickup truck. And you call up your fleet guy, or call up your car guy, and you say, hey, I need to pick out a truck. You got multiple businesses that you're buying trucks all the time, and usually you have 15 or so to pick from on the lot. And the car guy said, hey, you're not going to believe this, but I don't have anything. I have nothing. I have no trucks in the lot. I have to search one for you. It's like, what do you mean nothing on the lot? What's going on? He's like, well, people are just coming out of the woodwork buying trucks like crazy, and they bought them all up. There's a couple things happening there. He was saying there's a couple theories there. One is that, first of all, the auto manufacturers, like every other business, kind of went into hibernation mode and just survival mode, and was making product and selling product, but not making sure they didn't overproduce. And so they're actually got behind on production, and they're now having to play catch up to the demand. The demand is spiking and the demand is growing. Why? Well, the theory is that businesses are starting to unleash the purse strings. Businesses are starting to spend more. They're starting to build things and buy things now that they weren't doing for the last 8 years. So a lot of, like, for example, in the construction business, you've got, people are hiring. They want workers. They're hard to find construction workers. You've probably heard from the hurricanes. Just in general, housing demand is booming. We're in a conservative market in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where home prices are usually, you don't have to always pay up to actual asking price or above in a conservative market like ours. But now, for the first time in who can remember how long, literally, I heard stories even this weekend at my open house Sunday. People are talking about, yeah, you got to make offers at or above asking price to make sure your offer is accepted, because they're getting multiple offers. So what's happening is, back to the theory is why there's no trucks. People are building, they're hiring, contractors are getting jobs now, they're getting paid. They're like, hey, I got to do job. I need the truck. You got to go out and get a truck. You got to go out and get a Bobcat. You got to go out and buy things. So that's a sign. It's the anecdotal evidence of the boom is starting. And excuse me. Along with that, you're going to have rising wages, because you got to pay more to get the good people. And then that's going to drive prices up. And so anyway, it's just an evidence of that it's starting. And that, again, that meshes a little bit with, again, my earlier call to own real estate. You're going to gain from that asset appreciation. And then again, some other person that I follow is talking about, he thinks there's going to be a boom or a bubble in the stock market, if you will. You call it a bubble or a boom, but he thinks that's going to be coming. And he wants to get on board, and everyone else is calling for a correction, or it's been going up too long, and they're meanwhile just slowly bumping higher, slowly. But he thinks that it might actually hit the vertical phase, and just like when Trump, on election night, perception became reality. People are buying, and the mom and pop investor, and people want to get in. They see the boom, they see the pro business ideas, and it's just like, for example, if this tax plan gets passed through, it's just businesses are just going to be like, wow, you're cutting corporate taxes. They're like, okay, boom, open the checkbooks, bring all this money back from overseas that they've been hoarding and hiding overseas, bring all that money back to the U.S., start building, start hiring. So if that actually does happen, that it does kind of make a case for a bubble, if you will, or a boom in the stock market. If you think about that, and you think about the pro-business attitude, that all that cash has been hoarded. And then on top of all that, this is another one of really my own theories, not necessarily from my business talk, but that's all the business talk mainly that we talked about. And then it kind of jibes together, dovetails with my other theory, or that I've read about or heard about, that what's happened is $4 trillion in quantitative easing that's occurred since the crisis, since the Great Recession. That money's been hoarded by the banks, and the banks are making easy money on a small spread. They don't have to do anything, they don't have to take any risk, and the Fed pays them interest. Well, now, guess what? Banks want more return. They want to get more profit. So the boom happens. People are going to want loans. They're going to start loaning out money. Businesses are doing well. Things are growing. They perceive the risk to go down. And again, that's just going to create more money flooding into the market, which is going to make all assets go up as well when you got more cash sloshing around in the system. So anyway, take it for what it's worth. Thought I'd share it with you, and get that house if you don't have one yet. And if you're thinking about things, again, it's not financial advice, but just, the doom and gloom is always out there, but just be prepared to think about the boom part. It actually could be a very valid theory too. So good luck. Thanks.